I'm going to do a things video where I talk about things. Actually, this is going to be my last things video in the entire decade. So, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So, again, I'm gonna talk about the songs that I have listened to in the past few weeks or so and categorize them in 3 categories: best, worst, and in the middle. Let's start off with the ones that I think are not that bad or that good, kinda in the middle. Starting off with Algiers with Void, which is from a band who is really well known for their post-punk soul fusion, which is often fiery and aggressive and full of emotions. And for the track Void, maybe they're doing too much because they are trying the hardcore punk thing on the track Void, and it just feels a little one-dimensional, unfortunately. Afterwards, we have a track from Alice Long Yu Gao, or actually it's Long Yu Gao, and it's called Rich Bitch Juice, and it tries to be this banger track, and I mean, it is kind of a banger, except the production is just kind of average and the vocals are a little held back. Afterwards, we have Allie X with Regulars, a song that's recommended to me by YouTube, and I actually think it's a pretty nice, mellow little bedroom pop indie rock fusion song. I kind of like the bass of the track. And then afterwards, we have Bruno Major with Tapestry, which is this super duper quiet, slow, mellow song that isn't really all that eventful or anything. Actually a little boring, but still not that bad. Afterwards, Caribou with the new track You and I, which is also super mellow and quiet, which is kind of strange because they usually come out with super danceable, groovy, electronic pop songs, and now this is kind of mellow. Anyway, afterwards we have the new Destroyer song. It just doesn't happen. I kind of like his previous single Crimson Tide, but now that we have this track, again, it's more mellow, and it's more subdued, and there isn't really much in terms of progression, even though I like the style and the tone of the track. Afterwards, EOB with the track Brasil, which is another really mellow, uneventful song. The second half of the song suddenly swells and it becomes sort of danceable and poppy, but it's still not reaching that point. You know, it's sort of held back for some reason. And then afterwards, we have a track from Francis Quinlan, Now That I'm Back, which is a pretty nice little piece of, indie folk track that is also kind of mellow. Also, a little mellow would be the newest Harry Styles track, Adore You, which has a pretty funny music video, even though apparently a bunch of people live in this little island in the British Isles region, and then for some reason the narrator has a weird non-British accent. Anyway, the music video is kind of funny, but the song itself is actually just kind of, in the middle of the road, average Harry Styles song. Afterwards, HMLTD came out with 2 tracks, The West is Dead and Why. The former is a pretty nice little low-key gothic country-infused track, which I think sounds pretty interesting, even though it doesn't have the energy that a lot of the previous HMLTD tracks have. And then we have the track Why, which is this mellow Vocaloid song that is kind of brief, which is weird. It's very confusing and head-scratching. It's not bad, though. Afterwards, we have a track from Holy Fuck with the track called Free Glass, and this is a very wavy, reverby, synthy pop track that is a little mundane, but still doesn't sound that bad. Afterwards, Eminence with the track Erase, which is this hardcore more like post-hardcore, really melodramatic post-hardcore song. And while it doesn't sound necessarily fresh or original to my ears, at least the riffs, they are not as generic as most of the hardcore rock bands are there right now. Anyway, John Hopkins and Kelly Owens has a new track. I forgot to write the title of the track, or maybe I did, but something happened. Something glitched out. Their latest track is just okay. John Hopkins is really well known for his very futuristic electronic production, and then we have Kelly Lee Owens singing, which is actually just kind of average. And it's such a very ethereal, spacey track. It's not really all that eventful. And we also have the latest Kali Uchis track, Kali Uchis from Colombia, with the track Solita, and it's just okay. It's a pretty uninteresting mainstream Latin pop song. I kind of like it when Kali Uchis is not, trying to make this, Latin flavored wave thing and do her own real thing, which is actually in turn more Latin flavored than the mainstream Latin flavored song style. But I think Kali Uchis kind of went to that direction on this track. Kesha has a new song called My Own Dance, which is, judging by the title, is actually pretty danceable. Clickety clackety, kind of quiet, but in a dry, snappy way. But it's just okay. It's not really all that catchy of a song. Afterwards, Maggie Rogers has a new track called Love You for a Long Time. Pharrell Williams' protege, Maggie Rogers. Her latest album is boring AF, but this track has a pretty nice 90s flavor to it, which I think is kind of appealing. And afterwards, we have Michaela, who is this robot fake person? And she's been floating around the internet for a long time now, and she used to be known as Little Michaela, but I guess she's big now, so it's just Michaela. With the track Automatic, and it's your average, futuristic robot pop music. Kind of lowbrow. It's not bad though. Anyway, Muramasa has a new track called Deal With It featuring Slow Tie, and I love Slow Tie's performance here. Really raw, entertaining, captivating performance here. The beat is just okay, not really all that appealing to me. I love the music video though. And afterwards, Oliver Tree with the new track Cash Machine, which is again another one of those funny comedic pop rock songs. Except it's a little, again, average for Oliver Tree. Next up, Orville Peck with the track Nothing Fades Like the Light, which is this mellow country ballad, which kind of uneventful, not all that interesting. And afterwards, we have Ozzy Osbourne's latest song, Straight to Hell, which has some really aggressive, fiery guitar riffs, which I actually love. But the performance itself is kind of stale, in my opinion. Anyway, next page, we have a track, a cover, a Billie Eilish cover of Bad Guy by a French singer girl called Pomme, Pomme, Pomme. And it's a pretty mellow rendition of the track. I don't know if this is the right treatment for a poppy, bouncy song called Bad Guy. But still, I appreciate the effort. And afterwards, Rico Nasty has a new song called Hard, and she does go hard on this track with the raspy screams, except the beat is not all that interesting. Again, we have a hard-hitting trap beat, and also this song tries to be a banger. That's pretty much the extent of it. Afterwards, San Cisco with the track Skin, which has some pretty beautiful vocal duets, not gonna lie, and some nice mellow indie rock pop guitars, but that's pretty much it, kind of average. And afterwards, we have a new track from Soccer Mommy called Yellow's the Color of Her Eyes. And it's a really sweet, nostalgic, mellow indie pop song. I love the instrumentals here. The vocals are pretty laid back, bedroom, chamber pop kind. And it's just okay. And then afterwards, we have Taeyeon a Korean singer, singing Into the Unknown, a song for the Frozen 2 soundtrack, which is weird. Taeyeon, her doing a track for an American Disney animation is kind of refreshing, and I actually kind of like that idea actually. Except it's pretty lowbrow, as usual. There are also all sorts of instrumentals there, like horns and strings and stuff, which is kind of impressive. But again, the track is kind of lowbrow. And to end off, we have a new track from The Who. I don't want to get wise. It's a boomer song because The Who is a very famous band off of the late 60s, early 70s. The band who made the song Baba O'Reilly, if you know what I'm talking about. But this song here, while I like the grooves, I like the guitars on here, they're just kinda, again, middle of the road, and the vocals, they are very sterile and like uninteresting and flat for some reason. It's like the latest Paul McCartney record where the same thing happens to his voice because they have been singing for so much now, it just loses personality. Anyway, let's talk about bad songs. Worst songs of the past few weeks. Starting off with Bad Bunny with Vete, which is another one of those super lowbrow, mainstream, lowest common denominator, uninteresting, blab, drab, dry, stale, stagnant, mundane, insipid, boring track. Afterwards, next on the list, the Chainsmokers and Kygo, giving you 15% 15% discount on insurances with the track Family, which is, again, lowbrow, lowest common denominator, not interesting at all. I don't know when will Chainsmokers stop making boring music, but I don't think it will ever happen. Afterwards, we have the track Gateka by Ghostmain. And it tries to be a banger, except the delivery and the beats are just so tame and just so dry, and not even in a good raw way, just in a really disappointing, underwhelming way. And also, who'd have thought, Halsey's latest song, Finally / Beautiful Stranger. Halsey tries to do this acoustic thing. Obviously, she's trying to pull off a Lady Gaga, and it's really not working out for her. With all due respect, I think she has a pretty voice. But her songwriting is just so boring, and it just feels so unoriginal. And then afterwards, speaking of boring, the latest Kalani song, You Know What's Up, which pretty much suffers from the same problem with the latest Halsey song. And then afterwards, Marilyn Manson decides to cover The End by The Doors, which is also a very famous psych rock band from the 70s. Songs like Light My Fire and I think Riders of the Storm are from this band as well, which is fantastic. I'm a boomer. I'm just kidding. Marilyn Manson decides to cover The End. And he's really overdoing it. It's corny. And then afterwards, Of Montreal continues to explore the 80s synth wave style of music, which is just a terrible idea. Because we're moving to the 2020s. Everyone's going to have nostalgia over the 90s now instead of the 80s, because, all the nostalgia comes like 30 years late. Anyway, this is just this really washed out, watered down track that is really boring. And also we have the latest Party Next Door song, Loyal, featuring Drake, which is also very, very boring, kind of blab. Ryan Beatty has a new song called Patchwork, and it's also boring. Like why so little effort put into this track? And at the end, Taylor Swift decided to go festive here with the song Christmas Tree Farm, and it's easily the least festive festival song I've heard in years. Anyway, let's talk about good songs. We have quite a lot of them. Bill Callahan with the track If You Could Touch Her at All. And while this is a very mellow country track, the personality and the heart really is present in the track. And then afterwards, Blood Incantation, death metal band with the track The Giza Power Plant, which is this really thrilling, exciting, weird, spacey, alien death metal track that is wild. It's wild. Afterwards, I surprisingly like this track, and that is Listerine by Dayglow, which is a track recommended to me by YouTube, and it is a funky, danceable, groovy little indie pop tune that is very refreshing. And afterwards, we have Elise Trouw, Trouw, Elise Trouw, with How to Get What You Want, which is also a really sweet and catchy, as well as funky and groovy pop song. And afterwards, we have the latest Flume song, Rushing Back, featuring Vera Blue. And actually, for most part of the song, it doesn't feel flumey. It feels like a really nice, funky, little bright, light-hearted electronic dance tune. And then it starts to get flumey with the, scratchy synths and all that. And it's a pretty well-produced track. Again, I'm noticing my hairline here. It looks weird. Anyway, Grimes has a new song. Grimes, girlfriend of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla and PayPal and SpaceX. Grimes is the singer of tracks like Oblivion and Reality and We Appreciate Power. And then we have a new song called My Name is Dark, which is more atmospheric, but actually has way more depth and way more nuances and some interesting instrumental choices. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, Kvelertak, metal band. Possibly from Scandinavia, judging by the song title here, Bråtebrann. I actually kind of like the track. It's not the most, crunchy, heavy metal song ever. Actually very fluid and colorful and flashy, and a lot of 70s harmonized guitars, but it's still very colorful and kind of bright and sometimes even surreal, and I just really love the tone of the song. Anyways, Mark Ronson and Anderson .Paak came together with a track called Then There Were Two for Spies in Disguise, a Disney movie, and it's friggin' awesome. Freaking awesome. Love the drums, love the guitars. It's laid back, it's chill, really well written. I love the track. And also, MGMT has a new song called In the Afternoon, released under their own record label, MGMT Records. They have their own label now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, In the Afternoon is a good song. It's not your average MGMT song. They have slightly shifted their direction, but it's still very captivating, sweet, dreamy, surreal, and very interesting and captivating. Afterwards, The Professionals, which is actually a duo formed between Oh No and Madlib, legendary producer, produced for Freddie Gibbs and MF Doom before Madlib. They came together, and now we have the track called Superhumans featuring Elzhi and Chino XL. And it's a pretty nice, solid, abstract rap song. Of course, really well produced and good performances. And afterwards, Rina Sawayama with STFU. Shut the fuck up. And, oh man, this is awesome. This track is a banger, okay? This is a very flashy, futuristic pop song with new metal influences on it, similar to that grime song, We Appreciate Power. And, wow. It is a banger. It is catchy. Love the energy. Love the hyper vocals on the track. And the music video, it's pretty interesting because I'm worried that the same thing's going to happen to me when I go to the USA. People are just going to come up to me and say, Ni hao, and I'm going to be like, Anyway, Shopping with the track Initiative, which is this pretty fun little post-punk song. A little tame, not as hard as I would like post-punk to be, but it's still very fun. I just wish the vocals are a little more, again, bouncy and explosive, but still love the nice, snappy instrumentals on this track. Afterwards, Stormzy's new song Own It, featuring Ed Sheeran and Burna Boy, and not bad at all. I actually really like the moody, spacey instrumental here, and Ed Sheeran and Burna Boy's performance is actually not bad at all. And afterwards, Square Pusher is back with the track Vortrack. Back with a track called Vortrack. And it's wow. It's this very migraine-inducing, dizzying, nauseating track with a lot of bleeps and bloops, with a really, really strange rubbery texture to it, which is actually very interesting sounding. Bleeps and bloops, but in a good way, Anyway, Tame Impala, Australian psych rock pop band outfit. Tame Impala with another new song, Posthumous Forgiveness, and it is another really mellow, dreary cut from Tame Impala, except this time the instrumentals have even more progression and depth, and the lyrics, they're actually kind of well written, kind of thoughtful. Anyway, up next, I don't know why did YouTube decide to recommend this song to me, but and I'm not sure if it's 2019 song or not, but it's Vausti with the track. Okay, so there is no English name for this track. So we have 4 Chinese words, essentially. 4 Chinese letters, 4 Chinese characters, and in Mandarin, it's pronounced Buke Xin Li. But apparently this band is from Japan, so I don't know how to pronounce that in Japanese. Buke Xin Li or Butthole Hung like. It's just weird. I'm gonna show you the title of the song here. But yeah. Anyway, at the end, ending off strong, we have the Weeknd's 2 latest songs, Heartless and Blinding Lights, and they're both awesome. They're both straightforward, your usual Weeknd instrumentals, except it's even wavier, more 90s inspired, very catchy. Heartless is very catchy, but Blinding Lights have a very special aesthetics, and it makes me like Blinding Lights even more than Heartless, but they're both great tracks. And yeah, just gonna leave it at that. Also, there are some other stuff that I would like to talk about, because why not? Alright, the teaser trailer for Black Widow came out. The first movie in the second era of the MCU, which is really exciting. I did a video on it, check it out. But all in all, it's a pretty underwhelming trailer. Not that it's bad, it's just kind of average. And given how amazing Endgame is, Spider-Man Homecoming and this movie just pales in comparison. But still, I mean, Florence Pugh and Rachel Weisz and friggin' David Harbour's in this movie. I'm looking forward. Afterwards, Wonder Woman 1984 teaser trailer just came out. Looks stunning AF. And afterwards, James Bond latest movie, No Time to Die, which is apparently Daniel Craig's last Bond movie, because I mean he's like 50-something years old right now. But No Time to Die. The villain will be played by Rami Malek of Mr. Robot, Until Dawn, The Master fame, as well as playing Freddie Mercury, of course, giving him an Oscar. And then we also have, again, Léa Seydoux in the movie, who's fantastic action girl, and also Ana de Armas. Oh my gosh, the cast of this thing. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm looking forward. Skyfall is one of my favorite Bond movies, also one of my favorite movies of the decade. Spectre is a little underwhelming, even though Christoph Waltz is just a brilliant actor here. And then we have No Time to Die, which is a movie that I'm anticipating, definitely. The trailer isn't all that great, in my opinion. I mean, I really wish that Ana de Armas has something to say in the trailer. Rami Malek stunning, of course, and Lea Seydoux just asking James Bond, like, why would I betray you in the middle of a car chase? Little, little campy, but still, I'm anticipating it. So, what are your thoughts on these songs and movie trailers? From when did I just rate them? I don't know why did I just say that. Like if you like them, hate if you hate them, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.